Is that any better? Hello, welcome to Brimwood Farm. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I was watching the athletics and then I tried to take the dogs out for a walk very quickly. So I was a little bit late in getting here, and then obviously I had to get home and get my tea. Hi Alfie. First again. So today's been really busy. The past couple of days have actually been quite busy. As you might have seen yesterday on the upload yesterday, I went to the Olympic Park and to the World Athletics, and then I took the opportunity to look around the park, so that was uploaded yesterday. And then tomorrow is the poultry auction. So the chicks that were hatched from Chick Check are going to be sold tomorrow. So I think I've got 7 point of lay. Hey Zule! So I think I've got 7 chickens, so 7 hens that I'm laying tomorrow. I'm not laying anybody, I'm just selling tomorrow. And if you go to like professional poultry auctions, you normally take your chickens in cardboard boxes or crates or whatever, and then they get put into like wire cages for the auction. But this is a very local charity auction, and so you have to make up your own cages, which is basically like cardboard boxes with a mesh front. And everything that could go wrong went wrong. I thought I'll just whiz through these, get some cardboard boxes, I'll cut out the front, I'll stick the mesh on with a staple gun. The staple gun wouldn't work, the mesh wouldn't stay on, the cardboard boxes weren't staying together. So I have finally made all those boxes up, and then in the morning I'm going to catch all the hens and put them into their labelled boxes. But yeah, I don't know how that's going to work, and it's my first time, so I don't know how much they're going to make either. So we'll see about that in the morning. But the really exciting thing was when I was undoing the mesh to put on the front, I found a slow worm. So I don't know if you follow me on Instagram. If you do, you might have seen it. If not, it'll be in tomorrow's smallholding diaries. But there was a tiny little baby slow worm that was so cute. So that was really cool. So it's been a busy few days. And also, I wanted to say, last week, I had a great time on the live feed, and I was really excited with how it went. So I actually went onto Facebook and I made a Brimwood Farms community page. So if you go to Facebook and you look up Brimwood Farms community page, you'll find it. And it just gives us a place where we can chat and share information all throughout the week as well, and ask questions rather than just on the live streams or just me uploading random videos. So I think that's about it. I'm going to try not to do so much prodding on the camera because I'm filming it on mobile and the chat fades in and out. So I'm going to try not to do so much of that. Although I will have to touch the screen just to see your questions and stuff. And if I miss anything, it's not because I wanted to. It's because, as I say, the chat fades in and out. So if you've asked a question and I haven't got around to it, just keep asking it and I'll hopefully find out what's going on. So I think that's all my updates. So let me just see who's here. So Zule is here, Alfie's here, M Actor's here. Hi. So M Actor says, I'm thinking of raising Cortinux quail, thanks to you, but hard to get a reputable dealer and may contact you for raising. Yeah, sure. If you look online, or you can just message me on YouTube, but if you look online for Brimwood Farm, you should find a website, and it's got a contact page and stuff, because I do sell Cortinux, not Cortinux, Coturnux. I always say that wrong. Coturnux quail or Japanese quail. So I sell the hatching eggs. And in fact, tomorrow I'm going into lockdown. So I've got 30 eggs. And I'm really excited. I have no idea how many are fertile though, because whereas chicken eggs, you can really candle them and you can get like the veining really well. Quail eggs are really difficult to candle. You can only kind of do it by weight. You know, you can pick up an egg that's not fertile and then compare it with an egg that is fertile and you can tell. So I don't actually know how many fertile eggs I've got. So although I've got 30 eggs, I'd be happy with maybe 15 to hatch. So, but that'll be really exciting. So day 15 tomorrow, so which means Tuesday. They should be coming out on Tuesday. Hi Ray, Sugar Love. Hey, and welcome from Chicago. And Renate's here as well. Hi Renate. I was down in the coop today with Bruce. If everybody else doesn't know, Bruce is the silky chick cockerel from Chick Chick that Renate decided was too beautiful to cull and has convinced me to keep. So M Actor asks again, what is the percentage of male to female sexuality from hatching? Chicks are like 50-50. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, it all depends on your hatch. So the last hatch, I got 7 chicks, 4 were boys, 3 were girls. So it does tend to split equalish. But I've had some years with chickens, for example, where I've hatched almost all roosters for no apparent reason. And it's always been the times when I've been wanting to get pullets. So yeah, so that's why I hatch a lot. And then I ate so those 4 quail we dispatched and we ate, and they were lovely. Hence why I've put so many eggs in the incubator, because I'm hoping actually, I've got quite a lot of females at the moment, so I'm actually hoping for quite a high proportion of boys, because they're ready to eat within 8 weeks. 8 to 10 weeks is the perfect cull time. So I really want to fill the freezer up with lots of boys. I know, but they're really yummy, and they're not that gamey, and there weren't that many bones in them either, so actually they were really, really good. Really, really nice. Let's see. Yes, you're guilty as charged, Renate, for keeping Bruce alive. He owes it all to you. He is a lovely cockerel. He really is a lovely cockerel, and I'll have to get him out sometime because he's developing more and more colours. Because he's not pure silky though, he's small. He's like Danver size, so he's like a tiny little one. So I'll probably breed him with one of the smaller silky hens, just to bring the size up a little bit. What's pinging on here? Oh, it's my Facebook. Oh, thanks, Renate. Renate's like my cheerleader. Woo! I've got my chicken cup again. I need to go and buy another chicken cup so that every single week I have like a different cup of tea in a different chicken cup. So look out this week, and there will definitely be some new chicks on the scene. I might make another incubation and hatching video. The only thing is, in my old sort of China-made incubator, it had perspex sides, so it was really easy to film. The new ones, or the second-hand ones that I have, which are the Octo 10s from Brinsea, they're really, really difficult to film because they're long tubes and it's plastic wrapped around these bars. So to try and get a camera through those bars and focus on the chicks inside is really, really difficult. So I'll definitely do some photos. So there'll be some photos on the Facebook page and the community group. And I might put a little video up on the community group as well. And I will take a video at some point because it will be going into the small holding diaries. But I might try and make a whole actual upload for those chicks, because baby quail chicks are really, really cute, although they do try and kill themselves. I know, I wish I had a cam that could just last long enough. I don't have a camera, so I use everything from my phone, so I basically have to just set my phone up next to the incubator. What I might do is when they've all started to pip, I might get my camera and just set it up to watch them for and just leave it filming for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I can time-lapse it and speed it up, and so we can see some of the little quail chicks hatching out. So that's going to be really good. Ray, so you're babysitting chicks and silkies and Hedemora. I've never heard of Hedemora chickens. I'm going to have to look those up. But still, I love silkies. I love them. I know. Okay, so Zule says her chickens are hard to capture on video. They run off. Yeah, because I have kept saying she runs a channel called Little Beans Garden, and there's some lovely chicks. And I'm always saying, I want some chicken videos. I want to see your chicks. But yeah, this is the problem with chickens. They're not always the most convenient of pets to take videos of. And you have everything set up and screen, and then they run. And a number of times that's happened to me. Or I've been sat there, with a nice chicken on my lap thinking this is lovely, and then they've either crapped on me or they've pecked me and gone aggressive, and I've had to let them fly off. So yeah, it's not always that easy. So when you see me calm and collected in my chicken videos, you can now imagine that actually that's probably take 10, and I'm probably out of shot, covered in poo, and I'm probably bleeding from where I've been attacked. Yeah, Renata said, yeah, I need to throw food down and they come. Have you noticed that whenever I'm in the layers flock, they always have some greenery? That's why I go and grab some lettuce or some spinach and I throw it down for them, and they all come running, and then it makes them much easier to film. Because otherwise, as you say, I can't get hold of them. They're a nightmare. So greenery is a good way to get your chicks in one place to take a picture of them or to film them. So what's everybody been up to this week? I've been crazy here. The weather has been so up and down. Wednesday and Thursday we had so much rain. I was down in the poultry yard just sluicing it out because it was like this deep in water, because the poultry yard is concrete, which is really, really good for helping it keeping clean of chicken poo and stuff. But then when it rains a lot, it all sort of drains in and floods. So yeah, it's a bit crazy. So that was that day, and then Thursday was a working day. Friday, obviously we went up to London to the Olympic Park. Then today I was playing tennis this morning, and then I've been doing the poultry cages all evening. And then tomorrow we've got the poultry auction. So that's another early start because I think viewing starts from 10 AM, but the sellers have to be there from between 9 and 9:30. So again, I'm going to have to get up quite early tomorrow and sort all of that out, because I haven't left the chickens in their crates. I need to do that in the morning. So yes, it's been quite a busy week, but it's good. And it's sunny today, and you know, winter's going to be on us before we know it. So I'm trying to actually enjoy this weather and the fact that we've got some summer. Now my beans still have not done very good. I put on some extra beans, and my squashes aren't doing very good either. But the sunny and the warm, wet weather has done loads of good stuff for my turnips. The spinach is just starting to come up. The second batch of rocket is just starting to come up. So there's loads going on in the garden, which is good at least. But it's just time consuming. But then because of the rain, I haven't had to rain, so. Renati says, Jeff, I messed around starting my own channel too, and it's so hard. I'm such a goof. We're all goofs, aren't we? We don't have to be professional. That's what YouTube is about, being unprofessional and being an amateur and just getting online and taking videos of your life and sharing it. So be a goof. And actually, it would be cool to see your little plot, because Renate used to have a massive smallholding with tons and tons of chickens, and she now lives in Germany and only has a balcony, and so she's balcony gardening and doing as much veggies as she can. So actually, that'd be really interesting to see what you're growing and how you're growing it. Yes, and you're right. The homesteading, allotmenting, smallholding community online is really, really good, and on YouTube especially, I found everybody's really, really friendly, and we spark a lot of ideas off each other as well, which is really, really good. And tons of the stuff that I actually put in my video or that I've done in my own garden is actually inspired by other channels. And you know, I've seen stuff on there. For example, I was watching Brimwood Farm the other day, and she was doing, Jamie was doing a little tour of her garden, and she had a cucumber arch. So just, you know, your bog standard arch that you normally have roses over, but she grew cucumbers up it, so the cucumbers all hung down. And I thought, what a good idea, because otherwise cucumbers and gourds and things take up so much space on the floor where they scramble around, and they can cover everything. So if you can grow them up and over an arch, not only does it keep it out of the way, but it also keeps the fruit off the ground so the slugs and pests can't get to them. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that next year, and I'm actually I might get two. I might try one in the back garden, and I might actually try one in the front garden, because the front garden is just a gravel driveway. So I'm gonna try and do that cucumber arch, because that would be really, really good. And then I can tap Jamie and be like, look, you inspired me to do this. So yeah, so I'm glad to see everybody is subbing Renate, because I'm hoping there'll be some great videos coming, Renate. What's my doggy doing? Hello? What are you doing? Yeah. Zule, that's so cute. So Zule's just said that she talks to her girls about me and Barry. Barry's a bit of a rough lover though, so they might not like him very much. and he's very noisy. So he's noisy and he's a rough lover. So he's probably better on paper or video than he is in person. Because my poor silky girls, at least he's got a few now. Because before he only had Gertrude. Whereas now he's got four. He's got Gertrude and he's got 3 of his daughters. So they all get equal measures. Although actually Gertrude tends to be broody all the time. So she doesn't get much action now because she just sits in the nest box fluffed up. And then another thing that really started this week that I was really happy with is chicken check-in. So I know you guys might have seen Chick Check, which is where I followed all those little chicks all the way from hatching to adult. But I'm now doing a chicken check-in, and I hope this is going to become a running series. So the first one was in my own backyard, and I showed you 3 of my chickens. And then this week was the first stop on the tour. So we went off over to Liz in Wales, and we saw her 3 favourite poultry. And then next week we're actually going to New England, and we're going to check in with Jen and Andy and their 3 favourite chickens. And then I hope it's going to continue. So if you've got chickens, then I'd love you to get involved. All it requires is like a 5-6 minute video of you highlighting your 3 favourite chickens, what their names are, what breeds they are, the characteristics, etc. And then you can send it to me and I'll put it on the channel, and hopefully we're going to go on this little world tour of chickens, which will be really, really good fun. Renate, you're not old. I don't believe that for a second. And yes, getting your first hen eggs is a magical feeling when you go down that first time and your little baby chicks have grown into pullets. 53 is not old. Renate, 53 is young. Young, young, young. So, yes, I expect greatness from you. Well, you might be a granny, but that doesn't mean you're old. And also, isn't old just a number? It's not how you feel inside. So, you know, I want to be 80 and still out there milking cows and running around fields after chickens. I mean, I might not be running quite as fast, but I intend to be out there doing stuff. And in fact, I was talking to my friend today who we were playing tennis with, and he is very into, when he starts up a sport, he's very into the focus and the mechanics and how it's going to affect you biologically. And he was saying the reason he does it and takes care of his feet and does everything possible to ensure he doesn't get an injury is because, again, he wants to be running when he's 80. So I think we have to look forward. We like crazy people though, Renate, so it's all good. I mean, come on, look at half the people on YouTube with successful YouTube channels. They're all crazy. Oh, so Little Beans, so Zule says, the willow tunnels you recently posted were awesome. I really hope you do that on your property. So do I. I wanted to have one for a while. I used to work on a show in the UK called This Morning, and actually I got a chance to, we did garden makeovers, and I had a chance to create one of those living willow domes in somebody's garden. And then obviously we went to the Olympic Park yesterday. God, it feels like ages ago. So we went yesterday, and yeah, we saw that willow sort of curve and then that tunnel, and I thought it would be amazing. And what a better place than in the nuttery. So you can go out to the nuttery and you can collect your hazelnuts and all of that, and then you can just go and take a seat inside the living willow dome and crack the nuts or store them, or so that's, and I'm going to get that going pretty quickly because it takes a while. And willow is pretty self-sufficient once you've shoved it in the ground. And basically what you do, you just get long sticks to start with. So you'll put them in the ground in the shape you want, so the circle that we want. And then as they grow, we'll just bend them over to make the roof. And you just tie them in. And then you can just cut off and prune as you go. So yeah, so it will be a really beautiful shaded place to sit and enjoy. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm even going to see if I can get some hold of some willow this autumn, and perhaps start it this autumn, this winter, when all the nettles and the brambles and stuff have died down again and I can do a bit more clearing. Hopefully I can find a place for it, because we've got that fig tree in now, and then we're going to start putting in some of the nut trees this autumn, so they can start to establish themselves. Because, you know, even though we're not going to be living up there for at least another 2-3 years yet, stuff like trees we can start doing now, because you've got to think ahead to how long they're going to take to mature. So the trees, especially the trees and stuff like that, if we start getting them now, it'll be really, really good. So I need to go on a hunt about all the different nut trees that I can actually grow and harvest stuff from in the UK. I know you can do walnuts and hazelnuts and sweet horse chestnuts. So I need to do it. And obviously we've put the fig in, and I'm going to get another fig that I know is right. And I'm really excited, but I've got some thornless blackberry bushes coming. So I'm gonna put them in this garden. So I'm gonna use them along the rickety trellising over the next couple of years, and I'm gonna compare. So there are 3 different species, and I'm gonna compare them how they do. But I'm also gonna propagate them, and I'm gonna put those up at the farm, because though we've got blackberries up the farm, they're all the wild variety. So they take a while to mature, and the fruit is like minuscule, really, really tiny, and it's a bit bitter. And it's great to go and harvest it and sort of forage in the wild, but if I can get like a cultivated thornless blackberry, that's even better, isn't it? So yeah, so Renata's just said you can weave baskets with willow and then sell your produce or eggs at the market. What a great idea! I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. If we can make little homemade willow weaved baskets to present the vegetables and the eggs in at the farmer's market, so then that's even more sort of self-sufficient and homegrown. I think that's brilliant. What a good idea. Oh, that's weird. So Renata again says she bought her blackberry as a thornless, but it has thorns. I wonder if it reverted to its base stock. Did it look like it was grafted? I'm just wondering whether perhaps the graft failed and it shot out from the rootstock, which maybe was thorny. Or maybe they sent you the wrong one. I don't know. But then I've never had thornless ones myself, so I don't know whether maybe they start off thornless, and then as they age, they kind of maybe revert back a little bit. Because a lot of plants, a lot of cultivars do over time revert. And you might have seen this with variegated shrubs. So you'll have a lovely variegated shrub, maybe with like a yellow and a green leaf, and then over time it will start to revert. So you'll start to get some sprouts coming out pure green, which are like the base colour. So I see that does happen sometimes. So maybe it reverted. Just reading all the comments. Oh. I think I'm not prodding everybody as much, which is good. My finger's not in the screen as much. Can you see to the left of the screen? I've got a third dog with me at the moment. I'm dog sitting her. She's not actually up there. It's the strange mirror reflection. But she's a Norwegian boohund. And she hates cats, which is slightly difficult because I have a cat. But she's becoming a little bit more used to it. The first time I brought her, I still had 2 cats, and she went nuts. Every time the cat even walked past the cage, she was literally like writhing with vengeance at the bars. But now, she'll just sit there quite happily and watch the cat. Hi Vesna. So Vesna says we bought 9 chicks in spring and it's getting time to dispatch them, which we've never done. Any quick tips? I hate dispatching. Let's just put that out there. I use the broom method because I am not very good at breaking the neck. Because the thing with breaking the neck is you've either done it or you think you've done it and your chicken actually isn't dead. So I prefer to use the broom handle method because you know they're dead when their head's not on them. So you get a broom handle You put their head on the ground, so their jaw is touching the earth, so they're like that. And you put the broom handle over the top. You stand on the broom handle with a foot either side, and then you get the body and you pull up and over really sharply. Now, if that should break the neck. If you do it up and over in a quick jerk, that should break the neck. If you do it hard enough, you'll pop the head off. And I like to pop the head off because then I know it's dead. Now I'm getting better at it. If I don't pop the head off, it's okay because I know I've broken the neck. But when you're starting out, that's the method I would use, because the first chicken I ever did, I tried to break the neck. It was horrible. It didn't go right. It was awful for me. It was awful for the cockerel. So I just think, find the method for you that works the best. So the broom method works really, really well. If you can afford it, you can always get a stunner. My friend on a small holding, she has a stunner. So she has a cone that she has attached to a wooden post. She puts them in, she stuns them, and then she bleeds them out when they're stunned and unconscious. But yeah, I pop the head off. And there's loads of YouTube videos, and if possible, this is my best piece of advice, if possible, if you know somebody that's done it before, get them to come around and show you. Because doing it on your own for the first time is not nice. Do it in the morning as well, so keep them overnight in a crate or something so they haven't got any food inside them, because obviously you don't want to kill them when they've got lots of poop, because that makes the gutting process horrible as well. So yeah, broom method, get somebody to come and help you and keep them in a box overnight so they haven't eaten. And then just do it quickly. Don't faff around, do it quickly, because at the end of the day you're ending their life, so you need to do it as humanely and quickly for those creatures as possible. So that wasn't a quick answer, but there you go. Yeah, you can use an axe as well. I don't have a big axe, but you can do an axe, and obviously then the head's off. And obviously with quail, with smaller things, so with deformed chicks, you can just snip the head off with a pair of sucker-tears, and that's also how we dispatch quail. We just cut the head off with a pair of sucker-tears, because then we know they're dead. Yes, so it's called the broom handle method, and basically what you do is you get your bird, and you put them you lie them on the ground, so the chin is on the earth, so they're looking like this. So here's the ground. And then you put the broom handle across their neck, and then you stand on the broom handle, 1 foot either side of the body, and then as quickly and fiercely as you can, you hold the body and you jerk up and over. And that action should break the neck. But I always do it with a bit more force to take the head off, because especially when you're first starting out, if your bird hasn't got a head, then it's dead. Whereas you run, because of all the flapping and when the nerves go and they flap a lot and they twitch and stuff, sometimes you can do it and you can think you've actually broken the neck and you haven't, and then you've actually put your bird through a lot of needless pain. So I always think when you're starting out, just get the head off. If the head's off, it's dead, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then as you get better with the process, you'll then know when you've broken the neck and you don't need to pull any more to take the head off. So I would definitely try that. And then if that friend of yours that is retired could actually come and oversee, or if you could go somewhere and see a chicken dispatched, all for the better. Because I'm all for raising your own animals and raising your own meat and eating them, but when it comes to dispatch, it just needs to be done properly and quickly, because I've seen a lot of horror videos on YouTube of people doing it, and you're like, what are you doing? You've just put that animal through so much horror. So quick. I mean, I don't really like the broom handle method that much, so in the future I am aiming to get a stunner, because also the broom handle method works well for ducks and chickens, but if you are going into geese, for instance, you need a stunner. Yeah, no, so Vesna's asking about putting covering the chicken's head to make them calmer. I agree, and that's why I do it in the morning as well, so they've slept overnight and they're fairly calm. And if you know your chickens well, you can hold them and you can stroke them. But yeah, you could put them on the ground and put like a piece of cloth over their head as well, because that will also help keep them calm. The main thing is, if you do it right, you should be doing it really, really quick, so they really shouldn't have that much time to know what's going on. I don't mind the bleeding out method because a lot of people say when you take the head off, there's a lot of blood. I don't really find that. You know, what I do is I do the broom handle method, and then when they're dead, I hold them down on the ground. So the blood that is coming out the neck is just going into the ground. So it's like, I don't know, it's like the salt of the earth. It's going back to where it came from. And then the blood actually comes out pretty quickly. And then I just leave them on a towel. If I'm doing multiple birds, for example, I'll just or 3 or 4, I'll just have an old towel. I'll leave them on there just to bleed out, and then I can just wash the towel or throw it away or whatever. And then with the quail, Sard actually did the quail, but he snipped the heads off, and he just did it inside a bag. So he had them, it was a black bag, so he put them inside. So again, they were quietened because they were in a black bag, and then he just snipped the head off and they just bled into the bag, so it wasn't so bad. Oh, sorry. So Renate actually meant she doesn't like the bleeding out when they hang them up and just cut the veins. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, if you've got a stun gun and you've properly stunned them, then that's not so bad. But yeah, I mean, again, lots of things can go wrong. So to me, dead is dead. Just get it dead as quickly as possible and as quietly as possible and as least affecting for the animal as possible, so they don't know what they're doing. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to be in the future because this is only chickens, and I don't really like doing it with chickens. So the thought of sending, my beloved lambs, or my bull steers that I've helped carve and raise, sending them off to the abattoir, is just, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. Luckily, there is an abattoir within a 5-minute drive of where our farm is going to be, and there are local butchers and abattoirs, so they'll do all the butchering there for you as well. And my granddad used to take his animals there, so for me that's nice because it's a 5-minute journey and I know them, and it's a small operation as well, so it's not one of these massive abattoirs where any old thing can go. So, and actually I was just reading the other day, I can't believe this isn't a rule already, but it's about to be made illegal in the UK for abattoirs not to have cameras, which is a very, 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 very good thing in my mind, that they're going to be made to have cameras, because they should be accountable for if things are not being done right. So, what a lovely topic of conversation. I know it's part of farming, but I don't want to let's not spend the whole time talking about chicken death. But I hope it all goes well, Vesna. I mean, there's nothing I can say to stop the nerves. But just, I would look it up, try and get some help, and just hope and just do it as quickly as you can. Not in terms of do it tomorrow, but when you're actually doing it on that day or whatever day you choose, just get up and do it, and then it's done. I've just realised I've left the room in a mess. Look, there's my tennis bag over there with my tennis rackets in. Are you killing all the chicks, Vesna? Or, because you said you've got 9, are some of them girls? So what's up with Barry and the breeding project? Well, the breeding project, we've got eggs, and I candled them the other day. So I think I put 12, no, how many did I put in? Yeah, so I put 12 Barry eggs into the incubator. 1 was clear, 2 died at the red ring stage. So I've got What's 12 minus 3? 9. So I've got 9 Barry eggs in the incubator. They are due to hatch next... In fact, they might be hatching next Saturday night, in which case we could live stream it. So yes, so they're due to hatch soon. But the thing with a toasty marshmallow is that it doesn't appear early on. So we have to wait for them to grow into their mature colours. Hi Khalid, welcome. So yeah, I have to let them grow and mature into their full colours before we can see that toasty colours. But hopefully we'll have 9 new Barry Silky chicks. And then the plan will be I'm going to raise those ones up to adults, so no more chicks this year. And then from those ones, I'll pick out the best hens so that next year I can breed Barry with the best of his daughters. So yeah, because I'm not entirely sure what I want to do yet, because I've got one hen that's got a bright orange head. So I could go down the route of making white silkies with an orange head. And then I've got another one that's got streaks. And I think I would prefer to go down the route of a white silky with like orangey toasty streaks throughout her whole body. So it looks like paint marks almost. So yeah, so I need to pick out the hens and see what happens. So a college has just asked a rightful question. Are you not worried about inbreeding? When it comes to genetics and colours, most breeding programs do involve a little bit of inbreeding. So you should never breed siblings, never breed brother to sister, sister to brother. But you can normally breed father to daughter or mother to son for one generation, and then the next generation you bring in new blood. So you always have to bring in new blood, because obviously, as you're right, the inbreeding gets worse and worse and worse. But for that initial line, especially because this has come from this coloration has come by an accident from one cockerel and one hen. So if I immediately breed the daughters or the sons with other ones, they will probably lose those markings in the next generation because I'll have new blood coming in. So I need to breed them back to Barry, and then I've kind of doubled down on that colour, as it were, and then I can bring in a new colour, a new genetic. So Vesna is just talking about the chickens she's going to cull, so it's not overwhelming. I've never plucked or dressed them either, so I think it would be best to do one every couple of days. I agree. 3 has been the maximum I've done at any one time, and even that is a lot of work. And you can't, I don't know how you feel, but I kind of want it done. So by the time I've done 1 or 2 chickens, that whole process can take quite a long time. And I don't enjoy that whole process of preparing the food. It's a chore that needs to get done, but it kind of reminds me that I've been killing animals. So yeah, so the maximum I've done is 3 in one time. I tend to do 2 because I can quickly wet pluck them. It was harder when I was doing smaller birds because I couldn't get my hand in the cavity. If you've got bigger birds, you can get your whole hand in the cavity, and then actually dressing them is really easy because all you need to do, hand in, scrape out, done. But with smaller birds, it's a lot harder to get inside and pull everything out, which is why with those Danver silky chicks, I'm not going to actually dress them like chickens. I'm going to do them like quail and skin them. So yeah, so I definitely agree that just do 1 or 2 at a time until you're proficient in it. But then as you go on, you might just want to continue doing 1 or 2 because it's easier. So have I ever had problems with that breeding? No, I've never had problems with breeding just 1 generation back, and then I always bring in new bloodlines. Yeah, it's going to be a very long project. I do have Barry's son, so I'm thinking of taking Barry's son off in a different genetic line, hopefully. So we'll see what happens. But if you have the first F1 offspring, so from Barry and Gertrude, and then we'll have the F2 generation from Barry and his daughters, and then by the time you get to an F3 generation, we'll use Barry's, so there'll be Barry's grandkids by then, and then we'll bring in new blood. But by the time you get to that, the new blood shouldn't affect the genetics or the colorations as much. There'll probably still be some that don't show any of the genetics or any of the colours that I want, but it's a long process to establish a new breeding line. It's like years and years and years, which is why I'm A, excited, but B, also a bit nervous about it, because you'll inevitably will end up with loads of chickens that you actually don't want either. So not only boys in this case, you'll end up with lots of hens also that you don't want to breed from because they don't have the characteristics you want. So you can have a bit of an explosion of hens. So I may have to cull a few silky hens in the future with this plan as well. But that's part of breeding a new colour line. But then I've never done it before, so I've never bred a new colour line, so it's all very exciting. Exactly. So as Renata says, like with the blue colour, you'll always have a few other colours cropping up, and that always happens. You know, it's genes and how they combine. So we'll see. But it's an exciting process, and I'm excited to see what happens. And it might all become a dismal failure. This might be a fluke. I might breed Barry with his daughters, and they come out just white. And then where will we be at? So we'll see. It's exciting, and you know, there's a lot of different, especially with the paint splash silkies and things. So lots of people are doing it. So it's just a case of finding out whether I'm any good. Yes, and then yeah, exactly. So I'm doing Barry, but then I've also got Bruce. So I'm going to be breeding Bruce, try and get some of his partridge white colour into the silkies. And I mean, there's already partridge silkies out there, but let's give it a go. Bye Zule, have a great Saturday, because it's only mid-afternoon over with you, isn't it? So you've got the whole day left, whereas for me, it's ticking towards midnight. But at least I can go straight to sleep because I've taken the dogs out already. So if you weren't here at the beginning of the video, I was mentioning the new Facebook group. So I've made a Brimwood Farms community page on Facebook just as a place that we can all get together during the week, because obviously at the moment I'm just uploading to YouTube the odd videos, and then I'm doing this live stream with some updates. But the Brimwood Farms community page is open to all. You do have to ask to be joined to the closed group. But we can all post and share information on there. So if you haven't done that already, head over to Facebook and join that group, and we can all keep updated on all our progress. It's all to do with homesteading, allotmenting, smallholding stuff. So it's all the stuff that we talk about and I talk about on my channel and we talk about in the live streams. So we're going to keep it very focused on that, because otherwise the whole concept and the whole kind of idea of the page can get lost. But if you're interested in that, then please pop over and take a look. So Khalid says, my chicken was raised by a turkey. Do you know if she will still behave the same as a chicken? Also, she follows the turkeys and not the other hens. Oh, bless. I honestly don't know, because you know when animals hatch out, sometimes the imprinting, you know, with humans and with like breeding programs for certain birds. I know there's I can't remember the name of the stork, but there's a breeding program where all the breeders have to go in with a long sock on their hand and pretend they're a stork and feed like fish from their hand. So I don't know whether. I'm sure actually as the chicken grows up, she will realise that she's not a turkey. Hopefully, especially if she was only in with other turkeys, she might not get it. But if she's in with other chickens as well, I would hope that she'd kind of learn it. But you never know, you might just end up with a turkey chicken for the rest of her life, which would be quite cute. But I really want to keep turkeys, but I've heard they're really, really hard to raise. And I haven't got enough room here for them, but I was watching, is it the Swedish homestead on YouTube? The Swedish homestead, something like that. But he's just got a load of turkey poults. And so I really want to do turkeys in the future because they're really, really cool. And I don't know whether you saw one of my agricultural farm shows. I think it was back in May. We went to one of the shows and they had turkeys, and they just made that little dance and then that clicking, and they have this long, I can't remember what it's called, a snood. Is it a snood on their head that kind of goes back and forth? But it's really, really good. People think it's a bit repulsive, but I love it. I think turkeys are great, and apparently they're really, really friendly and charming and intelligent. And you don't often think of birds as intelligent, but apparently turkeys really are. So that's another thing to add to my list. Excuse me. Yeah, so Renate's just said that they're kind of done when they're chicks and they get older. That's exactly what this guy said on the Swedish homestead. That, like quail chicks, turkey poults just want to die. And so when they're young, they're really fragile. And then when they get old, they're like hardcore and hard to kill, and they'll survive everything. And my friend had some, and she had, she had a roosting box outside. But she had a roosting box outside, and they wouldn't go in it. They just slept in the open because they didn't want to go anywhere. And they got wind, rain. They even got snowed on, and they were fine. So, yeah, I'd love to have turkeys along with the rest of the menagerie. So tomorrow, I'm going to film a little bit of the poultry auction. I won't film inside because I don't think we're allowed to, but I will film. I'll film my chickens going into the boxes, and then I'll let you guys know how much I made. I have put reserves on them. I will say this local auction is kind of a cheapy one, so people do expect to get bargains. So I may not sell everything because I'm not willing just to price these little hens at, £5 each. That's not going to happen. I want a decent price for them, and if not, I'll just private sell them. Vesna says she bought 2 grown geese a month ago. They were kept in a large pen but no grass. They have a really nice grassy yard and they're really freaked out. I've never kept geese, so I'm not sure. I mean, I know that geese do require grass. That's one of the things they have to be required. They have to have grass. It's great that you've got it. It's bad that they weren't kept on it before. My guess is they probably weren't treated that great beforehand if they weren't actually given grass. And I would hope that they will settle down. Yeah, as Renate says, they should settle down with feed and things. But as a kid, the only experience I have with geese is as a kid being hissed at and chased around my granddad's farmyard by about a group of 5 geese, and I hated them. I love them now because I think they're beautiful things, but my experience is that they were horrible. So I don't have much advice on that one. But I would think, like all things, as they get used to you, and also if they're on the grass now and they're going to get a better and more rich diet, hopefully they'll calm down and see that they're going to be living the good life, especially if they're pets. Even better, right? So then they don't have to worry about going on the table either. How old can geese get, Renate? I'm not even sure. I mean, if chickens can get to 7 or 8, I would expect that geese could get quite a bit older. 26 years, blimey. That's a long time to have a goose. But yeah, no, I would like some. Oh really? Chicken's 12 years old? I guess most chickens just don't get the chance, do they? Because they get ill or they're chopped up for food or... I mean, I had a chicken, she was 8. She was my last chicken when I moved here, and she didn't lay, And I just let her live into retirement. She was a little bantam, and she'd gone through the hormonal change as well. She crowed. It was definitely a she, 'cause she laid all her life, but then she started crowing a little bit. And then I was here, and she was my only chicken, and I was going to get her friends, and I was only here a month, and some bastard came in the back gate and took her, and I expect took her and ate her, and it wasn't an animal, it was a human, because they came in and they opened up her coop and took her. Evening, Jeannie. So I was gutted when she was taken, because I moved here. She was on her own. She had a brand new coop, and she was in retirement. I was happy to keep this chicken forever until retirement, old age, and then some horrible person just came along and took her and probably put her in a pot. Nasty, nasty people. Oh, you weren't notified that I was live? I'm sorry. To be fair, I completely forgot to share this live feed. I was going to share it on Facebook and on Twitter, but I completely forgot, and now we're 51 minutes into it. I know, so I had that happen within a month of moving here, and then probably maybe 6 months after moving here, we had another person break in, and they broke into the shed, and they killed some of the aviary. The first night they stole a cage with some finches in it, but Sard heard them, opened the window and busted them, so they buggered off. But then 2 weeks later they came back, when we're sure it's the same person, and they broke into the shed and killed some finches. Like he pulled, I'm assuming it was a he. He pulled some of the wicker finch nest boxes out, and he must have just put his hand inside them and crushed the birds inside. We just found them just horrible. People are horrible. So when the first year of living here wasn't nice. Our immediate neighbours were nice, but we were just thinking, where have we moved to? Like, who would do that? It was a horrible, horrible situation, which is now why I've got, when you look in my garden and you see all that horrible trellising that's like half blowing all over the place, it's kind of there for a purpose, because it's made like that so it's hard for burglars to get over. They can't, if it's a rigid structure, they can just climb up over it really easily, but the whole point is, because it's so rickety, if they try and get over it, they're going to hurt themselves. So that's one reason why it's like that. I mean, it's an eyesore, but if my animals are safe, and it's a pain because I've got padlocks and everything, so I can't just walk down the garden and open all my coops up. Everything has a padlock on it. My poultry sheds both have alarms on them, because people around here are just horrible. So I mean, touch wood, my desk, there hasn't been any issues this year, but I just don't get it. I don't get the mentality of some people. I know. I mean, when we're on the farm, obviously we're going to be in a much more rural area, so we won't have immediate neighbours. And the police that came round did say there was a group of certain individuals they thought might have done this. And I'm not going to go into that because it's a whole other discussion. But where the farm is, it's a lot more rural. People look out for each other more. And obviously we are going to fence everything. Because obviously you still get sheep rustling and you still get rural crime. But I think it'll be harder, whereas here they just literally came into the garden in the night and just stole that chicken the first time, and then came in and stole birds and then just killed birds. So yeah, I don't understand that kind of mentality, but then there's a lot of people out there like that, aren't there? But saying that, my immediate neighbours are wonderful. So the people on my street are wonderful. So it was obviously somebody coming into the area, and they probably saw, a brand new shed, brand new fence. Obviously new people have moved in, so they came to have a look what they could get. And then because we busted them, this is what we think, because we busted them, they left it 10 days and then came back later, and then kind of came back on a vicious attack just to be like, look what we can do. You don't scare us. We've come back and we've killed some animals, and they smashed all the security lights and everything as a kind of, you know, middle finger up at us. Yeah, they really are sick, Jeannie. I don't get it. But as I say, the past year and a half or whatever has been fine. There hasn't been any issues. We've kind of fortified the house now. So, you know, so we've got all that trellising, we've got all the alarms and stuff. Down the bottom of the garden, there's the sheds, but on top of the sheds, there's loads of sticks and stuff piled up to make it just more difficult. Our neighbour was really good. He made us a load of trellising that he fixed to our brick wall at the bottom. So we have done all we can to kind of put people off, because at the end of the day, this is what a locksmith said to me: no house or no garden, it is impenetrable, because if somebody wants to get in enough, they will find a way in, but you just have to make them it take as long as possible, because the longer it takes, the more likely they are to give up. Khalid says, do you think of keeping sheep? And if so, will you make the wool? Because that'd be lovely to see and sell products. I love sheep, and yes, I am going to be keeping sheep. I want to get some, I want to have a flock of pedigree Suffolk sheep. As for the wool thing, I don't know if my skills, and I'm not very good at crafts. So what I'm hoping to do is find a local wool spinner, and obviously you have to have your sheep shorn, and you don't get any money for it. So I would prefer, you know, rather than getting 50p for a fleece that's not going to pay for anything, I would rather try and take the best fleeces and give them or gift them to local spinners so that they can actually make use of them. And artisan crafts is something that's really taking off again over here, and people are really getting into it. So it'd be really nice. And actually where our farm is quite an artisan kind of place with a lot going on. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to find some spinners to make some of that sort of stuff. And who knows, in the future I might even give it a go myself. But so Jeannie says that she would love to buy a fleece. Oh, thank you. I don't know how to do it at all. But as I say, I'll probably gift them to people because they're worth nothing. So, you know, if you can get a nice fleece and give it to somebody, and then they can actually spin it into a beautiful product, that's what I want. You know, I want it, you know, go back to small. Renate, try get Suffolk St. Cross mix sheep. They're supposed to be extreme parasite. Yeah, because that's the problem with, there's a lot of fly strike. A lot of fly strike. I didn't know it was such an issue, but my friend has had a lot of fly strike, and it takes, I'm surprised how quickly it can take sheep down as well. You only have to miss it for a couple of days and it can kill them. So yeah, you have to be on the lookout. But yeah, I do really want to do, because obviously we want to do the local pure breeds on our farm, local pure and rare breeds. Now Suffolk sheep aren't a rare breed, but they are a local breed, so that's why I want the Suffolk sheep. Well, yeah, well I'm glad Jeannie says that they are to spinners in response to the fact that fleeces aren't valuable. And I'm glad that that is happening. I'm glad that there are all these lovely, amazing artisan products coming, and these crafters that are going back and making really top quality products from stuff that we make in the UK, you know, rather than shipping in all this cheap crap from abroad, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with stuff from abroad, but why do we need it when we can make really quality products at home? Khalid asked, do I like beekeeping? Well, I did like beekeeping until, if you saw one of the videos at the farm, I got stung to hell. Because we've got a beekeeper up there, and he has about 10 hives, but his hives are angry. They are really angry. So we were doing some field work. I was scything in the wildflower meadow and I got stung. And then when we went up 3 weeks later, we were cutting down some trees around the pond and I got stung 3 times. And it's lucky that I'm not allergic. But these bees were really angry. So, and I haven't seen the beekeeper since. So I don't know whether it was that time of year, because there are certain things that they say, you know, oilseed rape, for example, is said to kind of make bees go nuts, or I don't know whether he's got some really angry vicious queens. So I do need to have a word with him. I would love to keep bees, and the idea of keeping bees is great, and the honey that came from those bees is amazing, but being stung so much kind of put me off a little bit. Yeah, I know. But then some bees can be really good, because I don't know if you watch Garden Answer, which is a big YouTube garden channel. Laura, who is the presenter, she has just got bees, and she filmed the other day and she was literally standing next to it, and they weren't paying her any attention. And then one of my friends got a hive of bees, and their bees went nuts, and they couldn't even go in the garden. And they talked to the beekeeper, and they basically said, "Oh, you've got an angry queen. We'll just replace the queen." So they replaced the queen with a quieter queen, and she changed the entire personality of the hive. And now they can go and stand next to their hive. So I never knew that your queen kind of spreads her behavioural characteristics across a hive. I didn't know that. So that was cool to learn. So I wonder whether our beekeeper needs to swap out his bees, swap out his queens with some nicer, more quiet queens, because you should be able to go right up to them and them not attack you. Stingless bees? Aren't stingless bees just dead bees? Because the stinger's stuck in you. I'm not joking. I had a stinger in my forehead, and I ran down the hill going to Sard. Get it out, get it out, get it out. And this thing was right here, pulsing. And the longer the stinger's in as well, the more poison it's injecting into you. So I had this massive egg on my head. So there really are stingless bees. Well, I didn't know. But are they stingless honeybees? I don't know. I mean, I don't mind a stinging bee if it just doesn't sting me. And after all, with bees, when they sting, they die. So it'd be kind of nice for them to realise that I'm not a threat. Crikey, we've been going for an hour. Because we've been going for an hour, I'm probably going to wind down now. Thank you again for a thrilling night. So watch Daddy Curb's YouTube channel. Live chat. Okay, so stingless bees are going to be on Daddy Curb's YouTube channel. So I'm going to go and look at that in bed. I tend to watch YouTube in bed. So I'm going to sign off, because we are at an hour, and I've got to get up early in the morning and sort all these chickens out for the poultry. That's okay, Jeannie. Next time I will try and actually let people know when I'm coming on. I was a little bit late tonight as well. So I was kind of rushing to get going. But yeah, thank you everybody that came. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next. Will I be on next Saturday? I should be on next Saturday, and I'll try and let everybody know. But you can see I'm getting tired because I'm stumbling over my words. And I played tennis today as well. My arms are killing me. So I will see you next week for a live stream, but I'll also pop over to the Brimwood Farm community page if you haven't already, and keep an eye out on the videos coming this week, because there will be quail chicks. Bye!